everybody, and welcome. So I got such good response on my recent video about how I organize BJU Press curriculum, and I thought some of you are wanting to know, how do you organize the BJU Math Manipulatives? This one's probably an older cover than the one you got, but if you're like me and you've got kids in the elementary level math programs, then you might be overrun or overwhelmed with what to do with all of these little punch out materials. I'm going to share with you what has worked best for our home, but just keep in mind, like with any organization system, you need to take the ideas that you like and make it your own. There may be things that are important to me that aren't as important to you, and vice versa. So do whatever is maintainable for you and what will be easy for you to keep up with. I will let you in on an insider secret. When it comes to these math manipulatives, they are a lot like Legos. They are wonderful instruction tools. They are excellent to have around, but they will find their way into every crevice in your home. I promise you, unless you have a good organization system and keep up with it. Hopefully, you'll be a lot more successful than I have been on teaching your kids how to put the manipulatives where they go when they're done with them, or you'll do a better job than I've done at returning them to their rightful places. If you find videos like this helpful, and especially if you found my channel helpful, please like and subscribe. And as always, share this video with other moms that you know who might benefit from it. Let's get started. Keep in mind that I have been accumulating these manipulative packets for 12 years now with all 4 of my kids who have been through BJU's elementary math programs. So I have lost count of how many of these packs that I've gotten. Now, if you're like me, I was a little bit of a school nerd and I kind of start geeking out over this kind of stuff. When I would get these and my kids would be like, oh, let me punch them out. I'm like, no, I want to punch them out. Like, that's fun for me, right? So if you're like me, maybe you think these things are really cool. And if you're not like me, maybe you loathe them from the start. I assure you they have a lot of value in teaching your kids math. It's something that I can't say we use every day, but when we need them, they are invaluable to have around. For example, one day last year, my 3rd child was working on fractions, and he had done really well with decimals, but he was having a really hard time understanding equivalent fractions. Well, when I got out these manipulatives and started showing him how 1 whole could be 2 halves, or I actually just got him to get all of the different breakdowns out of his manipulative kit. 1/3, 1/4, 1/6. And then we start talking about pizzas, making the pizzas. And what would you rather have? Would you rather have 1/2 of a pizza, or would you rather have 1/8 of a pizza? And it started clicking with him, just looking at it all right there in front of him, laid out on the table. So these things are wonderful. They're game changers in facilitating instruction of some of those concepts that can seem really abstract unless we have something physical to connect them to. So even if you have loathed them so far, I encourage you to find a place for them in your homeschool because they're going to be very helpful along the way. So now what we're really here to talk about, how do we organize all of these little manipulatives? And they range in size, which makes it harder to store them. Some of them are very tiny, like little squares. Some of them are full sheets of mats that you need to lay out for place value and things like that. So what do we do? In my experience, because they are such a variety of shapes and sizes to them, then it does take a few different things to keep them in as far as storage components. Let me share what's worked for me. Now, I have to give credit to one of the teachers at BJU in 2nd grade who gave us the idea of one thin 3-ring binder. This is going to be for all of those full-size mats, place value pages, things like that, things that are actually a full 8.5 by 11 printout of something. You're going to keep those in just a simple binder. That's the easy part, right? Now for all the little things that we punch out. I'm going to show you 2 different things that I use. I have one large bin like this, and it is probably about 9 by 13, 10 by 13, something like that. I could fit the full book in there if I had to, so it might actually be a little larger than that. It's just a storage bin with a lid. And now for the game changer. I bought several, I actually have 3 now, but I started out with 2 of these craft storage organizers off of Amazon. I'll drop a link below, but I'll tell you what was important to me. I got the ones that have adjustable dividers inside. Now there are pros and cons to that. The pro, and the reason it was really important that I get adjustable ones, was so that I could change the size of the compartments just by inserting or taking out a divider. I wanted to be able to customize the sizes for each one, because I knew I was going to have some things that are this big, and then I was going to have some things that are this big. So I needed to have a variety of sizes in these containers. Now, what I have done, I have one simply for our fraction kit. And so if your child isn't in the upper grades yet, the 4th through 6th grade, this may not even apply to you. You may not need a storage container for that yet. Opening it back up, I just lay the holes right there on top, the whole circles. And then I have individual compartments for the halves, for the thirds, the quarters, and then going all the way to 1/12. These fraction kits are really amazing, as I already mentioned. Now, if your children are in the lower grades and even going up into the 4th through 6th grades, I'd still recommend having 2 other of these jewelry organizers, craft organizers, because you're going to need one for, we call it you can see I've used the BJU labels that they give the kids to color, the number cards and the money kits. And I think at some point they may suggest using Ziploc bags and stuff. I do think Ziploc bags are helpful, but I'll show you that in a minute. This is our money kit. It has our dollars and then all of the coins separated out. And then also we get these number cards, and we've gotten multiple sets of these. So I have tons of these number cards just from down through the years. Now, I mentioned there were pros and cons to the adjustable dividers. What I do want to share here, just in case this is something that would really annoy you, you want to keep in mind that the way that these are, all of the vertical blocks are stationary. These can't be moved. So with that, they go all the way down to the bottom. Nothing can slide underneath. With the adjustable dividers that can come out, things actually can slide underneath them. So it's possible, that your dimes might slide over there into your nickels might slide over into your numbers. So there's different things, different ways that they actually, some of those little ones can slide back and forth. If that bothers you, maybe choose a different route. To me, it's worth that little bit of inconvenience for the fact that I can customize all these shapes the way I want them. So, and then the third one that I have, which is actually probably the first one because it has more of our kindergarten and 1st grade manipulatives, it's the counters and shape kit. So this is what they use a lot in the kindergarten classes, the 1st grade classes, of teaching the children how to count, how to add, things like that. And they'll say, get out your beaver counters or get out your ladybugs or whatever. And so we have all of these here, and they may have changed by now. I know they've updated some of these classes, so yours might be a little bit different than mine. But we have all of these little counters that I probably truthfully don't need anymore because my youngest is in 3rd grade, but I'm a little sentimental and I'm not quite ready to get rid of those yet. And then we have our shapes, our squares. Sometimes they'll tell you get out a square of each color, a triangle of each color. So we have all of our different shapes from, again, this is going back to like K5 and 1st grade pretty much. So, and then you've got, these are my little 10 blocks, that when they're teaching how to convert 1s to 10s, they'll have you get out 10 1 blocks and 1 10 block and show your child how they equal the same. So again, things that are very, very helpful if your child has a hard time visualizing some of these things that can be abstract. But so again, my collection has grown to 3 of these bins. You may start out needing 1 or 2. If you're like me, you're going to start with 2 because I always like to have a little bit more than I need as opposed to running out of space. So you're going to start with 2 probably, but if you want to give it a try with 1 first, you could, especially if you're just doing one child's manipulatives right now. So the good thing is that if it's the same as it was before, for I believe it's K5 through 3rd grade, or maybe it's 1st through 3rd grade, the manipulative packet is the same or very, very similar for those grades. And then there's a 4th through 6th grade packet that is basically used for those 3 years. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's close to the way it is still now. So you're going to see some of the manipulatives repeated from year to year. So investing in 2 or 3 of these bins is going to keep you for a long time. You know, again, we're 12 years into this coming up this October. And these 3 bins keep the majority of our manipulatives, along with the 3-ring binder I showed you and this bin. Now, what do I use this bin for? You've probably already guessed. Everything that won't fit into little compartments over here goes into this bin. And this is where I do use some Ziploc bags to help me out. If you'd rather find something that has bigger compartments that you can really lay everything out in, or, you know, maybe even using some folders that you could, you know, perhaps where I have clocks in a Ziploc bag, maybe you'd rather put the clocks in a folder and then put the folder inside the bin or something like that. You could do that. What I have in here, I have some flashcards that are too big for my other bins, all of my rulers that are too long for these craft organizers. I've got the little, I guess we would call them puppets, the little craft stick puppets, the flashcards from K5, I think it was K5 for all of them. I have probably portions of several sets in this bag. I don't know if I have a full set anymore. And then I've got these larger 100 block cards, these 100 block cards that are also used with the 10 blocks and the 1 block. So those are things that I just keep them laid out in this bin. And because all of the little things are in the storage organizers, it makes it a lot easier just to kind of fish through this bin and find what we need. And then hopefully return it to this bin. That's always the challenge, is getting it back where it goes, right? So again, just kind of going from largest to smallest, all of my full page size things go in a notebook. The things that are small enough to go in the craft organizer, they go in the craft organizer. My shape kit, my counters, my money kit, my number kit, my fraction kit. Then everything in between goes in a bin like this. I usually just keep this bin slid underneath the bookshelf on the floor, and then these 3 can easily slide onto a shelf on our bookshelf. So I hope that gives you some ideas for how you can organize your manipulative kits and make it to where it's just manageable, because you want manipulatives to be fun to use. You want them to be helpful. You don't want them to be the bane of your existence. So hopefully that gives you the ideas you need. If this has been helpful, again, please like and subscribe. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them here for me. I'd love to read your thoughts and get back to you. Just one more reminder, if you're ready to really take your homeschool preparation to the next level, I do offer a course for parents. It's especially geared to parents who are just starting out in homeschooling. It's called Homeschool Crash Course, and you can find it at homeschoolcrashcourse.com. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.